Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mensch. Today, Linux Mint released their new ISO, which is based on Debian, LMDE 6. And it's been a long time in coming. It's been 14 months since they released a new ISO for their Debian version. And I thought it was going to be out in August because when they released their new ISO for their Ubuntu version in July, they said the Debian version would probably come out approximately a month later, sometime in August. And as it turns out, it took 2 months since the Ubuntu version was released, because it was released in July. And they released their Debian version today, but it's worth the wait. It's good that they do it because they don't set a deadline for releasing their new ISOs. They make sure everything is working good before they release an ISO, which is a good thing, right? So let's go to the website and take a look. So I'm at the Linux Mint website. And if you click on download here, you can see the recommended version is Linux Mint 21.2 is the recommended one. And that's the one that's based on Ubuntu with 3 configured desktops: XFCE, Mate, and Cinnamon. Now we have LMDE 6, and I'm going to click it on. And this one bypasses Ubuntu. It's totally based on Debian, but only comes with one desktop environment, and that is the Cinnamon. Now, of course, once you're in it, you can download any desktop you want that's available in the Debian repos. So you could download Mate or XFCE or the awesome window manager, and whatever window manager or desktop environment you want, as long as it's in the Debian repo. Anyways, enough of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on download. Now, before I do that, you could click on the release notes and you could, just read this and find out what it's about and any problems that we're having. But, I'm just going to go and download it. So let's click on download. There's a release announcement, there's release notes, and an installation guide. But I'm just going to go and download it. So I'm going to go down, and there's mirrors here. So I'm going to pick a Canada mirror. I'm going to click on this Canada University of Waterloo Computer Science Club because it's not too far from where I live. And I'm going to click it on, and it's downloading. And it says 1 minute and 20 seconds left. So I'm just going to pause the video for a moment and come back. So the ISO took about 2 to 3 minutes to download, and that was a little bit slow. Maybe it's just the mirror I downloaded from. It's 2.5 gigabytes, and of course some ISOs for other distributions are 3 gigabytes. So 2.5 is not really huge, but like I said, maybe the mirror was a bit slow. So I've booted up into the live version of the new Linux Mint Debian ISO, and I'm going to fix the display. And of course, if you're doing this on bare metal, you won't have to do this. And I'll probably have to fix the display after the installation is done as well. But like I said, if you're doing this on bare metal, you shouldn't have to do this. And I'm just going to go through an installation. I'm not going to poke around and see and give a tour of the new system until after I've installed it. So I'm going to click this on. And welcome to LMDE 6. Let's go. So I'm going to pick English Canada. It knows I'm from Canada. How about that, eh? And I'm going to keep going. And let's go to, we don't have any English Canada here. Well, here it is. French Canada, English Canada. And this is the keyboard that I use. So I'm going to go next. And it's asking for my name. My name, my caps are on. How about that? My name is Mensch. My computer name is LMD. No, well, let me do caps. LMDE-6. And my name is Mensch, and my password is Very simple. And require my password to log in? Yes. Let's go next. Erase the disk and install LMDE on it. And I'm going to click on this menu, and this is the disk. I'm giving it a 50 gig hard drive. So I gave this is a virtual machine using Virt Manager, and I gave it 4 processors, 4 gigs of RAM, and a 50 gig hard drive. So now I want to encrypt the system, and it's right here, encrypt the operating system. Now I like this a lot because when I installed the brand new Linux Mint that's based on Ubuntu that came out in July, the encryption button wasn't there. It was hidden under a menu. And if you didn't know to click the menu on, which gave several options, one of which was including encryption, if you didn't know to click the menu on, then you kept going forward and then you couldn't go back. So what ended up happening with me when I installed the Linux Mint Ubuntu back in July, I didn't see the encryption because it was hidden under a menu, and I went forward and I ended up encrypting the home partition instead because that was visible further on down the road. And then when I finished, my system wasn't encrypted. So then I went back and did another installation of the Linux Mint Ubuntu that came out in July. And then I realized at this point, you had to click on the menu to give you a choice of whether you wanted to encrypt a whole drive or not. So I said all that to say, I like this better. This is a lot better. It's right here, right in your face. You can see it. It's not hidden behind a menu. Now you see the link is dead, but that's okay, because if you click on this, now it lets you click on encrypt the operating system. So that's all you have to do. So now I'm going to put my encryption password in. I'm going to put it in again. I like this. I like this installer better than the one that Linux Mint used for the Ubuntu version that came out in July. Now, I'm not going to click on fill the disk with random data. That is more of a security issue, but if you do that, it's going to take a long time for your hard drive to get formatted. And I'm going to click on next. This will delete all the data? Yes. Installation tool. I'm just going to click on yes. It's going to erase all the data. On my virtual machine, install grub? Yes. Let's click it on. Let's click install. And here we are. We're installing the system. So I think this installation is probably going to take about 10 minutes. So I'm going to pause the video and come back when it's done. Okay, so the installation finished. Took about 10 minutes. So let's click yes to restart the system. Let's hit enter again. And now we're booting into the new system. Let's make it full screen. And I encrypted the disk, so I have to put my password in to decrypt the disk. And what is my password? I just put a simple password in. And now the system is decrypting the drive. And next it's going to take me to the login screen, or as it's rightly called, the display manager. And I'm going to put my password in. So we have a welcome screen here, and you can go through this. I always unclick this, so the next time I reboot my system, I don't like this menu to come up. So I'm going to close that, and I'm going to fix the display. So right click, go to display settings. Because this is a virtual machine, you have to do it twice. You have to do it when you're on the live ISO. Well, you don't have to, but you do it when I'm on the live ISO, and then the first time I boot into my system, I have to fix it, but then it's going to remember it. So I won't have to fix it a third time or a fourth time. And of course, if you installed this on bare metal, you'll never have to do this. So before I go looking around at the system, I want to do updates. So let's go here. Welcome to the Update Manager. Let's click OK. And we're going to have to update the system. And while the system is updating, oh, your system's up to date. Oh, that's beautiful. Now, do you want to switch to local mirror? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to put my password in. I figured there was going to be some updates to do. And I'm just going to change this top one to the University of Waterloo. It's the same one where I downloaded the package from. You don't have to do this, but I'd like to do it. And I'm going to save the bottom one too. So I'm going to make my mirrors from the University of Waterloo, which is not too far from where I live. And I'm going to OK it. And I'm surprised there's no updates to do. I was expecting some, but I'm not complaining. Makes it easier for me to do the video. So it's just updating the mirrors. It takes a moment. And I'm going to close this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit this refresh button. I just want to make sure this system is totally up to date. I'm just resyncing the mirrors or refreshing the mirrors. And there's some updates to do. And I won't have to reboot because, well, for starters, I only reboot when it updates the kernel. But secondly, Linux Mint tells you if you need to do a reboot after an update. Anyways, let's do an update. It's updating Firefox and these two other utilities. Let's install the updates. I'm going to put my password in. And I'm just going to pause the video while it's updating. It shouldn't take too long. And don't go away. I'll be back. So that only took a few seconds and the system is up to date. So let's close this window and let's click on this. It's saying install the language packs. So I always install the language packs. It's for your web browser and for LibreOffice and so forth. And let's put my password in. Now it's asking me if I want to install the media codecs. Now these media codecs, when I do my Arch Linux install, my post installation of Arch Linux, in that paragraph, if you've been watching my videos and following my channel, you'll see in my install script, I have a whole paragraph of apps that I install in my post installation of Arch Linux. Well, I have the media codecs in there. But here it's asking if you want to install it. I mean, it's not about Arch Linux, right? It's about Linux Mint Debian. So install media codecs. That's the codecs for movies, video, and music. So I'm going to click yes. I'm going to click it on, and it's installing it. And I'm going to say continue. And it's going to pause the video for a sec. Okay, so that took about a minute and a half. And launch time shift. I always ignore it. I don't like time shift. So I'm not going to install it. Are you sure you want to ignore this report? Yes. And no problems were detected. So let's close this. This is something that you should do is go here, go up into settings, open this. Let's scan down. Let's click on the firewall. Put your password in. And by default, the firewall is off. So I'm going to turn on the firewall. And there it is. Now the firewall is on. Easy peasy. And let's shut that. And before I go further, what I want to do is, let's type in themes. And here we are. So I'm going to pick a dark theme. Well, let's just stay there. Let's just do that for now. So let's go back into settings. I'm going to go here into settings. And you can see we have a nice dark theme now. I love that. So what I like to do is go to Power Manager. I turn this off because I don't like the Power Manager going on. And I'm going to change this when power button is pressed, shut down immediately. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to screensaver. And I don't like my screensaver going on. So I'm going to shut it, say never, turn those off. Let's go back. And what else do I like to do? I'm going to go to the clock. I'm going to hit date and time settings, and I'm going to shut this 24-hour clock off and turn on display date. And that's good enough for me. I'm going to close this. And what else am I going to do? Let's make sure the volume is up. I like the volume to be up a blast. And what I'm going to do is right click on this bottom bar. I'm going to go to applets, I'm going to go to download. And right here, see this blue line? It's just updating the cache for the applets. And that's done. Now I'm going to click on this weather network here, or sorry, this weather applet. I'm going to highlight it, and then I'm going to click on the down arrow, and it's downloading it. See, it's downloading it. Now I'm going to go to manage. I'm going to click on manage. I'm going to highlight the weather app again, a second time, and I'm going to click on this plus button. And now it's adding the weather app. So now we have the weather app. It's 17 degrees. I love this weather app. It's amazing. And let's just take a quick tour. So for the internet, we have Firefox, Thunderbird for mail, which I never use. For Office, we have the whole LibreOffice suite. For sound and video, we have Celluloid, which is a video player, Rhythmbox, which is a music player. We have all kinds of utilities here. And one thing I really like is we have a USB image writer and a USB stick formatter. I love those. And of course, we have Firefox. I'm not going to open Firefox. You all know what Firefox is about. And, oh, before I did that, let's go into the terminal. None of the GNOME terminal. I don't particularly like it, but that's what's installed right now. Let's go to preferences and make this larger. Custom font. It's at 12. Let's kick it up to 15. Oh, that's better. Let's kick it up once more. That's better. And Linux Mint Debian, they don't automatically give you a password for root. So I'm going to make a password for root. And let's do sudo password without the O and without the R, root. So when you're putting the root password in, it doesn't put the little asterisk there. So you have to be careful. So let's put it in. Let's hit enter. Let's retype it. And it's done. Now, saying it's updated successfully. So let's see if we can get into root. SU. And let's put the password in. And now we're in root. And let's exit out of root. Let's clear the screen. Let's do sudo apt install htop. And while we're at it, let's install Awesome, the awesome window manager. Hit enter. And I'll pause the video and be back. I don't think this update, sorry, not update. I don't think this install is going to take long, but I'll pause the video for a moment anyways. And that didn't take long at all. So let's close this. Let's go up here. Let's go to administration. Let's go to Htop. And oh, geez, we're running kind of high. So the system gave me 3 gigs of swap. So it doubles the RAM. And it's something that I don't care about. I don't like that it does that, but it does. It doubles the RAM. So if you have 32 gig of RAM, I suppose it's going to give you 32 gig of swap. And I wish the Linux Mint team would change that on their Debian version. There's no reason to have so much swap. But anyways, it's using 1 gig. It's running kind of high. Anyways, what I'm going to do is let's log out. Let's see if we can get into the awesome window manager. And let's put the password in. And now we're in the default Debian awesome window manager. Everything's small up here. You can see it has an interactive menu though, even though it's small and hard to see. All the apps are in here. Let's go into Htop. And now we're running at 457 megabytes of RAM, which is still kind of high for the awesome window manager. Although it's lower than the gig we're running at for the Cinnamon desktop. So that is the awesome window manager. So let's log out. Let's quit. Let's go back into Cinnamon. And now we're in the Cinnamon desktop. So this is the GNOME terminal. Normally I would install Xterm. And also, this is the bash shell, the bash shell is in there by default. And normally what I would do, and I've done it many times in Linux Mint Debian and Linux Mint Ubuntu, I install the Zsh shell with my configuration file and then make it the default shell. And should I do that? I don't know. What do you think? Let's do it. Let's go sudo apt install Zsh and Xterm. Got the password in. Do that. And that was fast. Now let's install my GitLab repository. Git clone https://gitlab.com/rdbus1/mensch.git. And Git's not installed. So let's install Git. Sudo apt install Git. Hit enter. Okay, Git's now installed. Let's run that command again. Install my GitLab repository. Let's cd into Mensch. Let's ls it. Let's cd into Debian. Let's ls it. Let's ll. Oh, ll not found. Let's clear the screen. Let's ls a. Let's copy my awesome window manager into home.config. And what else do I want to do? Let's copy my zshrc file into home. And let's do X resources too. Copy X resources into home. There you go. And let's quit out of here. Now what I'm going to do is log out. And I'm going to log back in. Put my password in. And let's see if we can get to Xterm. Now Xterm is not showing up in the menu. So what I'm going to do is right click this LM, configure. I'm going to go to configure. I'm going to make this full screen. Let's go to menu. Let's open the menu editor. Click that on. And I'm going to go here. Administration. It's the Xterm here. I'm going to click it on. Now I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this, and now it's going to show up in the menu. There it is. Xterm. I'm going to pin it to the bottom at the panel. There you go. Let's open up Xterm. So now we have Xterm. And let's log out of here. Let's go back into Awesome. Put my password in. Now we're in the awesome window manager with my configuration. Open up Firefox. There's Firefox and so forth. Let's get out of there. And let's just quit. Oh, let's open up the terminal. There's the terminal. Let's do Zsh. And there's Zsh. How about that? Let's SU it. Oops. Put my password in. Let's see if Zsh is in root. So let's open up this. Let's copy. Let's Zsh it again. Let's copy. Let's SU it. Put my password in. CD. let's copy home mensch zsh to here. See if it worked. And it worked. And let's touch period Z history. And let's go into Zsh now. And now my Zsh is working there. So let's go into sudo. Oh, we don't need sudo because we're in root. Let's go into password. Let's go into vim etc password. Oh, we don't have vim installed. Oh yeah. Let's do sudo. Let's exit out of here. Let's exit again. Let's do sudo apt install vim. Put my password in. Enter. And let's try that again. Sudo vim etc password. And this first line, let's change it to Zsh. Let's go to mensch. Let's change that to Zsh. And let's save the file. And let's close this. And let's log out. And let's log back in again. Let's open my terminal, and there we are. Zsh is my default shell. Let's see if it stayed for root. And it worked for root. That's great. Now what I'm going to do is log out. I'm going to go back into the Cinnamon desktop. And I'm just going to do a few more things and close off the video. And now we're back in the Cinnamon desktop. And of course we have the software center here. Let's go into the software center. So now we're at the software center and we have the same brand new software center that was released with Linux Mint Ubuntu back in July. And you can tell because this is here. In the old software center, the search field was over on the right hand side. So this is the software center. Let's click on Librewolf. Let's see if they have it. Here it is. And let's install it. Let's install. Let's continue. And it's installing Librewolf. And Librewolf, if you don't know, is a hardened fork of Firefox. And I'll just pause the video while it's installing. And it's installed. So let's close the software center. Let's go to internet. And let's open up Librewolf. And there we have it. That is Librewolf, the hardened fork of Firefox. Let's open up my terminal, Xterm. So let's open up Neofetch. And there we are. Linux Mint Debian, LMDE 6. So that is the brand new Linux Mint Debian, LMDE 6. And of course, it looks exactly the same as the Linux Mint Ubuntu. And it is. And I really wish that the Linux Mint team would devote their time to their Debian version rather than the Ubuntu version because, hey, I don't like Ubuntu. So, I hope you learned something today, and if you did, please like it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I am the Linux Mensch.